because it just feels like there's
There's
no
no way
way.
out.
There's no way out. There's no way out. I
Yeah.
don't know what's happening. There's no way that this is the end of even just their story.
Yeah.
You've written yourself into a fucking shoe, right? Into a
Mhm.
way where you're like,
That's the best feeling.
there's just not enough pages in what I know this
Yeah.
book to have for you to be able to get these people where they need to be, doing what they need to do, and doing it in a way that doesn't feel like, and then they just poofed with the wand and everything was fine. And yet somehow she fucking delivers every single time.
Hi, I'm Allie.
And I'm Sam.
Welcome back to the Knit Ritz podcast. Okay, so this week we are talking about The Fallen and the Kiss of Dusk. Finally getting to talk about yeah, I haven't read that many like romanticities yet. But this is like the probably the third one I read, and
Mhm.
I really was surprised how much I liked it. And when did you first read it?
I it was a long I mean, I was still back where you are.
Mhm. Like
I
2024 or like early?
Yeah, maybe
Okay.
even before that, 23?
Dang. Oh, did
Um,
you read ACOTAR in 2023?
I did. I do
Oh,
believe.
okay, okay.
Yeah, it was pretty yeah, it's been a minute. And
Got
I don't I feel like I read this one before I read Fourth Wing.
Probably. I feel like Fourth Wing was really big, like, yeah, in 2020. Because I think it came
Yeah.
out in 2023, but really gained steam, like, last
Mhm.
year and stuff.
But yeah, so when I audiobooked Fourth Wing, I don't know how the fuck I did that because I tried to audiobook Onyx Storm and was just like, what? There's so many names. I don't remember shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I read Serpent in the Wings of the Night of the Court of the Dragons of whatever 17 fucking words long of a title. Read Serpent. Um
And we just
a
call it
long time
Serpent Book.
ago, and so I read that duet, and then just was kind of like, and I didn't necessarily fall in love with it right away. I knew I can't even say that, but I feel like it wasn't one that I kept thinking about. However, I did put a reminder in my phone for when the third one was released. So I
Okay,
liked it
so
enough to be like, "Oh, make sure that I just like put it in there." And so I had it like popped up, October released or whatever it was, and was like,
got it.
cool, the third one's out. And
Yeah.
then we read the third one, and then the fourth one just came out,
Just came out.
and I have now read it. So I read it in Kindle format because it is on it's free on Kindle Unlimited. That's where I read all of them,
Okay.
except for Six Scorched Roses, which I got on audiobook, and I finished that recently too.
Dude, I
And
love that one.
now
So
I am
good.
on Slaying the Vampire Conqueror is what I'm
Oh,
currently
yeah, that's the
listening to.
novel's
And
called. Okay.
that's the novel one. The one that follows Selena and Atreus. It's good,
Okay.
but we won't talk about it because you haven't read it.
Yes, but we will eventually, but yeah.
I have so many thoughts about Fallen, and
Yes.
I have I have thoughts, and I have lovely, lovely thoughts about Six Scorched Roses. It was so cute and
So
so
cute.
short and so kind of buttoned up in this beautiful little way.
Mhm. But
And I'm
also unexpected in interesting
kind of
ways, yeah.
okay. I remember so when I was finishing it, I remember thinking, wow, I'm kind of okay that I read it at this point and didn't know the stuff about Vale and Lilith before, right? Because it's
Mhm.
technically like 1.5, so you're supposed to read it in between the first duet. And I was
Yeah.
like, I'm kind of okay with like having not read it at that point. But then at the very end of listening to the audiobook, I was like, fuck, I wish I read this earlier because now I want to go through and reread all of the Vale Lilith stuff and
Yes.
like see the little stuff. I will
There's
say
not that many
there's not,
parts, I think.
but I will say that there was, because you kept saying, "Oh, you gotta read it, it's great." And I was like, it's Carissa Broadbent. I like everything else that she's touched so far, so of course I'm gonna read it. But the moment that in Fallen, when her and Asar are in the room together, because I refuse to think that it's anything but
Oh,
Asar and not
yeah.
Asar, when he sees her and he's like, "Do I know you?" And it says like she gave him a weird little look, and she's like, "I don't think so." Um, and then she does a thing that's like very inquisitive because she's a little science mind, which I did not know, right? She's just like a little quirky girl. And he's
Mhm.
like, I liked her immediately. I was like, oh, I have to read this because I was like, oh, they've met. They've met. I need to find where they've met. And we'll talk about it later. But they've met.
Okay, I actually didn't put that together even though I had read it by that time.
It's okay.
But I think I just read him
I
fast.
also was listening for it because I was like, there has to be a point where it makes sense that he asks, "Do I know you?" And so the whole time, the
True.
whole 4.5 hours of the novella, I was like, "When's it happen? When's it happen?
That's
Where is
funny.
he?"
Yeah.
So I was like literally on like ASAR alert during the entire novella read. And I feel like if I wasn't, I would have missed it. Um, but yeah.
Yeah, that's so interesting. I love
So
that.
probably a good time to give some spoiler warnings.
Yes. So,
We're gonna spoil the shit out of the book, and so if you have not read it, stop listening because 'cause I've already said too much.
yeah. Also, just for the writing check-ins, neither of us wrote shit this week. Is
Not
that
a fucking
correct?
thing. Yeah,
Okay, and I
um,
didn't read anything this week except for bullshit. So, yeah. Okay, so, yeah, what was your experience reading it? I read it so fast that I'm like, what was my experience reading it?
I also I mean, I think it took me 2 weeks, right, which is pretty standard, and maybe a week and a half, pretty standard for my reading pace and my lifestyle. Um, I feel like because I had just finished reading all 3 of the
Daughter of No
um,
Worlds
Daughter of No
series. Yeah.
World series. And the tone is different in that book, and the lore is um, a little bit simpler, maybe, right? The it's just straightforward. It's and I was on the third book. I was reading them all together, and
Hmm.
even if the lore isn't as simple as I'm saying that it is, it's not simple, but it's simpler than 12 gods.
Yeah. And you
And
read them
and
all together, so it's easy to remember.
and it takes place on one plane of existence, right?
Yeah.
And so it was a little bit. I remember the shift into Fallen was like, oh, there. Hold on, what? And like it took me a little bit because it'd been a few months since I read the last one, and so I remember being like, what? What? Who? I gotta keep track of all these gods. Who's the gods? And then it was just a little, and then I was like, right, there's soul eaters and there's guardians and there's things and there's like, and so it took me like just a minute to like kind of acclimate myself to the book again. And I
Hmm.
remember the second that I was like, "Ugh, this one's not holding me the same way the last 3 have." And again, I read that whole trilogy all at once, all together. So it was really like reading one big book as opposed to breaking it up. The second I was like, do I like this series as much as that one? Then of course it got great, and I was like, oh, I love
Hmm.
it.
Do you
Um,
remember what point that was where you were like, oh, hell yeah?
I think yeah, I think it was when she was finally pulled out of the underworld because I'm like, okay, he's locked up, she's doing a thing with Vincent. Fucking Vincent's a little
Oh,
bitch.
yeah.
I'm good. Like, my my own narrative arc with Vincent is fun because literally I remember her waking up after she died in the last book and being like, and
Yes.
there he is, fucking Vincent. And I remember being like, this fucking piece of shit's gonna be in this next book. Fuck this guy. Sorry, I have a really, really potty mouth right now. And then I remember the first couple of chapters, I was like, I don't want to read about Vincent. Vincent's a bitch. I don't want
Oh,
to
I was
read about
excited to read about it.
I
I
mean,
was
I
like,
was,
hell
but I
yeah.
was also like I was like, "Oh, I want some bad stuff to happen to Vincent."
Okay.
Or just like, feel bad or something, or I don't know, whatever.
Hmm.
I was just having a moment. And
Yeah, I wanted him to like be apologetic and like yeah, I was
Yeah,
really
and I
looking for
was
that.
like, "Hi, guys, you're still on your king stuff, and you still wanna be addressed as highness, and you still got that stick up your butt and
I thought he
whatever."
was kind of like that's where I read him as like kind of like funny or something. Like he's just being a little
It
bitch to
it
be,
took
but
me f
then yeah,
it took me 5 minutes, though, to be like, "Aw, I'm not prepared to like Vincent." And I think that's what it was. I was like, "I
yeah,
know by the end of this, I'm gonna be like, yeah, he's not so bad," and I was mad about it before I even got there.
yeah.
Um, and by the end of the book, the only thing that made me cry was Vincent.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I never remember what makes me cry. Sometimes it's like the circumstances.
I mean, I have my own daddy issues, so I think, like, having when Vincent was like, "She knows I love her," right? I was like, "Up, and I'm done. I'm
Yeah,
done."
yeah,
Like,
totally. Well, I
I
feel like I
wanted
cried at other parts too, but
I
I can't
I
remember now.
I wanna know what's in that letter.
Mm.
I don't need to, but I wanna. I wanna
Yes,
know what's in the letter.
I feel like
Um,
we will not find out what's in the letter.
no, I think it's kind of nice that we won't as
Yeah.
a writer and the like,
Because yeah, if
I
you write it, then it's like, people are gonna think about it too much.
well, and I think that the point of it is that it's the also closure for the reader that, like, whatever you think is in that letter is in the letter,
Yeah.
and that's
Yes.
kind of the
And I
beauty
think
of
it's
it.
better that way. Yeah.
So do I. But I am also a nosy bitch, and I wanna just read the letter.
Yeah.
Um, I I don't know, I felt I I kind of loved that they couldn't touch each other at first. I was like, "Cool, cool." Like, there's a reason
Yes.
to not be
It didn't
fucking.
feel like cheesy,
It didn't
like
feel cheesy, and it
because
didn't feel unearned. And the, like, touching through articles of clothing and, like, I don't know, oral sex through a sheet. I was like, "Clever. That's clever. Okay."
yeah,
Um,
dental dam.
I love Luce. I love everything about Luce.
Mhm.
I also and I don't think that this is far-fetched at all, but I think that this is a very good. I don't wanna say it's a retelling because it's not a retelling, but in the vein of, like, something being incredibly influenced by a myth, this is a beautiful Hades and Persephone vibe,
Mhm.
like,
Yeah, and
perfect.
you get that because it's like the
He's
god of
grumpy,
death.
she's sunshine, literally sunshine,
Mhm.
and underworld, and they got a dog, right? Like, it may not have 3 heads, but they got themselves a dog. Like, it's
That's funny, I
literally
forgot about that.
Hades, Persephone, and Cerberus. Um, and now Vincent is kind of like Hermes. He's like the little messenger that goes back and forth and is a little bit of comic relief and is
That's
mischievous. And I
funny.
was like, this is beautifully influenced by Greek mythology, but
That's awesome.
so vastly different that I cannot call it a retelling.
Yeah.
I
Makes
loved the
sense,
time in
makes
the
sense.
underworld. I was a little it took me a second to be like, the underworld chose her. What does that mean? Like,
Yeah, I think it didn't have,
oh,
like, a clear meaning.
yeah, but I really love and then she got an heir mark, and I was like, "What the fuck? What is she the heir of? Like, is it of
Dude,
the
you guessed it
House of
too.
Shadows?" Yeah, yeah, I was like, "No." I was like, "Can't be the House of Shadows because it doesn't make sense for 3 people to have an heir mark." Yep, nope, she House of Death, right?
Letitia?
Uh, yep.
Letitia? Yeah.
Hmm?
I was trying to remember the name of it. Vathesia.
Yeah,
So,
but House of Death is
Vasida.
the 4th house that no longer exists, but now exists again.
Or is I
Uh,
think it existed before,
it did.
like, before the houses were things.
It existed, Alaris was the king of that house.
Yes, but I think when like night the House of Night and Blood and Shadow became a thing after he died and like it all went to shit.
Yes,
So it was
but
like the
I felt
shifting
like
of
the
it.
house still existed to some extent for a little while,
Oh,
and then
okay.
it didn't, but I don't know that for sure. Um,
Okay.
but yes, I love that they are the king and queen of the House of Death. I absolutely loved the, like, getting him back where he's walking around, like, he keeps being drawn to the underworld, and he keeps, like,
Mhm.
leaving little gifts for her without realizing it, and she knows exactly that they're for her, And then when she like meets little Asar and he gives her the heart,
Oh,
I
it
was
was so
like, that's
cute.
wasn't cheesy. It was very cute. And then I thought it was very smart the way that they wrapped that up, where it was like, okay, well, we're not going to destroy this God's heart. We're going to split it in half, and I'm going to put half in you and half in me and do the whole like.
And
I
that's how
thought
you
I
can
was like, oh,
keep
I
yeah.
was like, that's a clever like out for how where you've
Yeah.
written your
'Cause
characters.
a lot of things could have ended really, like and then it just worked, you know, and, like,
Mhm,
a bad
mhm,
story would be like,
mhm.
"We found the ancient magic called
Yeah.
love."
Mhm. And let me tell you, I reread what's his fucks? Rain's like vows to Aurea, like his wedding vows or whatever. And they're sweet,
Oh,
they're beautiful, and they're on stickers and they're on book the fucking tote bags and merch all over the place and they're lovely. They are nothing compared to the vows that they did at the end of that book.
I don't remember Rain's vow, certainly, but yeah.
It's fine. I mean, I had to look it up, but
Okay.
the fact that
That's
the
so nice.
necromancy spell
Oh,
is
yeah!
also the wedding ceremony, and that the 5 things that they
Very
have to have, like mind,
thematically
like
resonant.
mind, psyche, heart, soul, all that, whatever, that those are the same things that they have to have in a wedding ceremony. I was like, "This is so beautiful and perfect."
Mhm.
Um, I
That's the
love
way you do a metaphor like
that's
this.
and that's the way that you can take something that has this dark, forbidden, doesn't always work. When he did do it, it was out of intense pain, right? He like lost loose, and that was the first time he did necromancy. The next time he does it, he fucks it up beyond repair, right? And this
Mhm.
chick's soul is just wandering forever. And then he does it because he has to, and because it's all about like it's about pain and loss and about bringing something back so you
Mhm.
can hurt something else. And you take all of that and turn it into like the most beautiful wedding vows I've ever read in my life. And I'm like,
Mhm.
that's such clever work. Um, but
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's my overall. I love them. I have a very hard time trying to figure out if I love them more or less than the Daughter of No Worlds pair.
Okay. Yeah, I
And
haven't read those
I
yet.
think that they are very on par with those two. I do love them more than I love Aurea and Rain, but I feel like I just need to go back and reread it for all of
Mm.
its
I
stuff.
started to see them on even yeah,
I read
the
them
even.
so separate from each other, and I
Yes,
don't know why, but I was like, the first one was fine. But again, trials and vampires are never at the list of things that, I mean, it's the same reason why you're like, really?
that's why I
That's
didn't wanna read it, and
don't
that's why I
want
was so surprised.
And so I
Yeah.
remember when I did read it, I remember liking it a whole lot. And I immediately read the second one, and then it just kinda sat in like a, "Yeah, I'll wait for the fourth, and it's fine, and
Mhm.
I'm good to wait, and it is what it is, and it'll be ready when it's ready." I wasn't,
Yeah.
like, pounding down the door to try to get the fourth one, I was pounding down the door to get the fifth one,
I think that's actually
um,
because of the
or
duology
the third
structure
one.
too.
Huh?
Yeah. I think that's actually because of the duology structure. It sort of feels tied up,
Mhm.
closed, and
Yep.
I'm sure there are reasons to do duologies. Like, I mean, there definitely are, but I do think that these would be better as like a long series, and like I almost would rather have like some of these things happen mid not,
Mhm.
like, maybe that's just I don't mean to give preference to, like, not to, like, fantasy over romance, but I just am like, if it feels too expected, like, when
Yeah.
I'm just like, we got 20 pages left, there's something romantic's gonna happen, like, I kinda don't I
Yeah.
wish I didn't game the system, like, I'm
Yeah.
always thinking about that kind of thing, and so I just, like I'm like, if it had just been, like, in a series, this would have happened middle of the
Yeah.
3rd book, and then it just would be so I don't know, but that yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it, but I tend towards I wish it wasn't a duology structure.
I was very intrigued by their time with Selena and Atreus.
Mhm.
I thought that those characters were very interesting, and like the land, the dead lands and stuff like that, and the guardian and the fallen kingdom and all the things. I thought that
Mhm.
whole moment was very interesting, and I thought those two characters were interesting. And I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh, I'm excited to like possibly read about more of them, or maybe not. I don't know, maybe, and because again, I didn't know about the novella or the novel, and so I was like, maybe they'll just be like, other side characters that like
Mhm.
maybe more and maybe you don't. And now that I'm in the novel, I'm like, okay, thank you
Yeah.
for giving that to me, because those are, and then the same thing with Vale and Lilith. I'm like, how did I read this without knowing their story? Their story is
Mhm.
so perfectly beautiful. Um,
Although I do think if you had read it, I almost wonder if you during the second book if you would put too much weight on Vale and Lilith's characters,
yeah,
and so you would be like expecting like a big thing because they were, and so maybe
yeah,
it's better to read it after.
yes. I just I don't know, and their story. I mean, I can talk about that too later, but um, it's nice that we're getting little pieces of other characters, but I feel like we're not necessarily getting pieces of little characters. I think we're getting pieces of very big active
Yes.
characters that
Yeah.
Vale and Lilith seem like this kind of offshoot side characters that may or may not be be doing things, and then all of a
Mhm.
sudden they're very active in book 4, as far as like we may not get them a lot on the page, but their actions are big for the plot. Like
Yeah.
it's necessary. I also love that like her distill it. That's the only thing I was mad about. Her distilling Alaris's blood makes so much sense after you read Six Scorched Roses, because that's all she's doing with Vale is distilling his blood
That's right. I
to make
forgot.
yeah, it's she's doing it to make a cure, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So she's making medicine with it. And so I feel like that would have been like thinking back, and I'm like, of course they're the ones who are distilling this. Like that's what she does. Although it's interesting to start to think what were they distilling it for, because what she was using veils for was for medicine. And I know it's for more power, but I'm wondering what
Mm.
their idea, like what their uses in what did they have in mind for the uses of this blood? Like specific, not
Yeah.
just for saving or for more power or
Mhm.
whatever, but like specifically like, oh, we can use this to do this, which will bring power or will bring whatever. So
Yeah, and I
that's
think they weren't
interesting.
sure what it was yet, but
Um,
yeah, I mean the novels and the novella do make it seem like less like tidy six books
yeah.
duologies, but yeah, I always think about that, but
But yeah, so and then with Selena and Atreus, I remember reading them in the fourth, right, in Fallen, and being like, those are interesting characters. I could see them on a page later on, and then being like,
did you
oh,
realize that that was them?
mm-mm.
Okay, okay.
Not
I
until
did.
I did once. I mean, it's on the back of the book, and so after I read, because I was trying to figure out which one you had told me to read, because I
Mm.
was like, oh, I need to read the novella, and then both of them pop up as a 1.5, 2.5 in the
Mhm.
sequence, and I was like, right, which one am I supposed to be reading? And so reading the backs of both of them, I was like, oh, interesting. I'll put that aside and read the one that she told me to read.
Mhm.
Um, it's good. It's good. Not gonna say anything else. Um, but I'm glad that I'm getting more of their story, because I remember being like, she's the queen of something that was just conquered, and like you think it's weird that they're together. I'm like, that's a story. Yeah, and it is.
It
Um,
is.
here's my I'm mad that I'm going to like somebody because
Septimus.
Septimus has been a big ol' bitch since the beginning,
Yes.
a big ol' bitch.
Yes. Yeah.
And he is he's the main male character for the next one, right? And
Mhm.
so I'm like, well, great. Now I've got to think he's hot. I gotta want to try to bone him, or at least watch someone bone him.
Would have
I
to.
gotta be interested in this guy. I gotta be worried about his fucking life. I gotta like who he likes and want to do what he does. And I gotta realize that all of his choices that made him a crooked little rat are all been leading up to some great, beautiful thing for all the people. Like, let's be, and like, those are my theories. I'm like, oh, Septimus is gonna save the fucking world, and he's been saving the world since book 1. Fine.
Yeah. I hope it's not so, he should still
There
pay for his
is
actions, but
there is
I hope it doesn't feel like it's retconned, and I don't think it will. I trust
there is
Carissa.
some hinting of something about his story in the novel. and I haven't gotten all the way through it, so I don't know. But there's been something I'm like, is that Septimus? Is that who she's talking about right now? Um, so I'm interested, like maybe reading this novel, I'll get a little bit of something of him to be like,
Mhm.
all right, you won't be so mad when he turns out to be a good guy. It's fine. But there are some massive spoilers on her fucking TikTok.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to tell you. So it's
Of the novel or just all the
no,
books?
no. So it is a picture, and I'm not going to tell you the spoilers because we've already read the first two duologies. So I'll tell you what was on those, and then I'll tell you that
Okay.
there's something similar to right. So it goes duet one, like, and it's like, enemies to lover, and or it's like, acquaintance to or rival to lover, enemies to lover, blah blah blah, whatever. So like there's a couple little tags, right? And then you swipe and you get the second duet, and it's like grumpy sunshine, underworld, god slaying, blah 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 blah. And then you swipe again and it gives a couple little tags, and it tells you, right? So in the first duet at the very bottom it goes um male care, like MMC vampire, FMC human. Then you swipe and you get, vampire human, vampire vampire, whatever, right? Because it's not
Okay.
vampire human, it's actually vampire vampire, which also is a huge fucking spoiler for the first book because you think she's human the whole time. So I'm like,
Yeah.
so if people haven't read this, which I guess it came out a few years ago, so fine, but even
Mhm.
still, now they already know one of the plot points in the second book that she's a vampire. She's like,
Yeah, which
you
I think
know,
is a big one, like,
yes.
it's
So
like
it's
a
like MMC vampire, FMC vampire for the first duet. Then you swipe and it's like Grumpy Sunshine, Underworld, God Slaying, Vampire Human. Or vampire vampire. I think it goes
Mhm,
vampire human, vampire vampire. Anyways, so it's not a spoiler. Anyways, and then the next one has the same FMC vampire because we know it's Septimus, and then or MMC
mhm.
vampire, and it says FMC, and it says what that character it will be, human or vampire, and then it says a couple of little tags, and one of the tags is like, "You just told me the biggest ending. You just told me how it's gonna
Really?
end. You just told me
It
how it's
must
gonna end."
not be that important.
It's my theory. Can I tell you what my theory is then?
Okay.
Because if it's not going to be that, my theory is that they kill Nyaxia in the sixth book.
Uh, that wouldn't be that surprising, but
No,
it should be, like, the end of it. Or that's what I
yes.
thought the end of the series would be.
Well, well,
So book
sure.
7 wait, book yeah, the end of book 6.
Yes, but I also feel like maybe don't give that away. Like if it happens, I'm like, hell yeah, I knew it was going to happen.
Yeah. I don't get why people do that.
And I have a theory that the next duet is not the last duet.
I
So
yeah, that's interesting.
if they don't kill Nyaxia, which by the way, it says god slaying, so
I did see that somewhere.
they got to kill some god, and I don't think
Well, Misha's
and
a gunslayer.
yeah, yeah, okay, but that's the thing. So it says god slaying on the second duet, and on the third duet, god slaying is on there again, and it says vampire, and then the female, it says what she
Mm,
is, which I won't say what she is, but we all know what she is, but whatever, it says what she is, and it says some other shit.
yeah.
And I'm like, well, and the idea is be like, ooh, what god are they gonna slay? Because they might slay somebody else, but I'm like, they're gonna kill Nyaxia. It's fine. But I don't want to know it.
But anyway, I kind of also don't
And I don't
yeah.
think that I don't think that Nyaxia is the end god that should die.
No, but I just feel like it will happen. Because even though she's like, you feel bad for her, she's justified. She's also still like fucking shit up.
I don't think she's the big baddie.
So do you mean saying that like you have someone in mind who is
Yes.
Acacia?
Yes.
Okay.
100%. Acacia is the big baddie. And I am
Yeah.
over the moon for a fate god to be the big, huge villain. That sounds
Yeah.
amazing to me.
I like that they like that the shift with to her was really interesting. Um But yeah, she does seem at least suspicious. But
Well,
it's
because
it'd be like a little too easy if she's just actually the good one, the good
well,
witch,
and because not only that, but now she also has the House of Dead and the House of Night
Yeah,
pledged to her, and
yeah,
she is a very big I mean, we already know this, right? Selena she's
yeah. She's
pledged to
that.
her.
Yeah.
She's the Misha of that god,
Hmm.
right? The acolyte. She's an acolyte of Acacia.
Yeah.
Um, and if
And
Septimus
Araya's
even
mom, and there's a lot of things going to it.
what? Oh, yes,
Araya's
Araya's mom. Yeah, yeah, Araya's
mom.
mom. Yeah, sorry. I thought you were saying that Selena was Araya's mom, and I was like, I missed something.
No,
Yeah,
no,
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 she
yeah.
was. Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I think that I think that there will be a fourth duet that is in the House of the Dead that is not. But it's weird because I'm like, how can that be though? Because the whole kind of point is that it ends with the people on the throne, right? Like the House of Night, the love interests become the king and queen. And
Hmm.
the House of Shadow, you would think that they became the House of Shadow king and queen, but they don't.
Hmm.
So I'm like, if we have somebody that we're following from the House of the Dead, but then again, the next duet already takes place 10 years in the future,
Yeah.
which is another
Well,
wild moment. I read that sentence 10 years later, probably 4 times, and was like, what?
it's so funny.
What?
I was not upset by it at all. I was like, finally, we get some realistic shit for mortals. They don't need to do everything in a 3-month time span.
Sure, and I'm fine with that too, but I just kept thinking of all the horrific things that have happened in 10 years and all the people who have stories
Mhm.
and I'm like, how are humans even still alive at this point? There's no sun. What are they eating? And if they're not alive, how are vampires alive? Like I'm like I went full scientist with the whole ecosystem of not having a
Oh.
sun for 10 years. I'm like, what are they eating? How what? And then just like the idea that we're going to find humans who theoretically could have been born after the fall of the sun and have never seen the sun or were too young to
Interesting.
remember it.
Yeah,
Like
I
that's
wonder
wild.
what they do. Yeah, I forgot about the sun thing. Something is
Yeah.
interesting
Mhm.
because
10 years of no sun. That's intense.
that is intense. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure like there's another series I've read that has this kind of interest things like this. But I'm sure they could just like kind of adjust. Maybe the gods can make the plants
Sure, I
like
mean there's a million ways you can sort
growable
of
and
write that
stuff.
in or whatever that there's ways
Yeah.
to still have,
Hmm.
but I'm like if you're not growing plants, you're not eating livestock. If you're not eating livestock, then you're not living, and if you're not living, vampires aren't living either.
Yeah, I know. I was like, maybe they fish, but then I was like, but fish eat like if the coral systems and like all that,
Yep.
like, yeah, I agree.
Algae
Yeah,
if plants aren't growing, yeah.
yeah, that's
I don't
interesting.
know.
Yeah, the Atraxis. I know that's book 3, but that was a really interesting like aspect, especially since you know like I said, yeah, actually, in that vein of things, like a lot of this is happening because of a killing a god, right? Like Nyxia and all her shit
Mhm,
happened as a result of killing the god of
mhm,
death, and then like the underworld being like ripped apart. It's all because
mhm.
no one's been upkeeping it because there's the god of death has been
Yeah.
gone for like 1,000 years, however long. Um, and then yeah, then we get like Atraxis. It's like you're not supposed to kill gods, even though they're like fucked up, but like you need to replace some of that.
Do you think that all
Yeah.
of the gods will be dead by the end of the series?
I think it
Yeah,
could be I think Shikit probably
yeah.
will. Um, and, who's the other ones?
I could see it being like either all the gods are dead or there's a transfer of divinity so that it's like new gods. So, here's a theory. I don't like this theory, but here's a theory.
Mhm,
If somehow we're definitely getting 3 duets.
mhm.
If somehow we get 6 duets and each of those has a coupling, that's 12. What if like all of the leads in those books are the ones that reach divinity? So like Rain and Araya are gods of something. Misha and Asa are gods of something. I mean, they're both are, or they can like I don't know. I feel like there might be a power transfer of something that's
I
happened,
think there has to be, yeah, because the
or
gods
that
are
they
already like
eradicate gods
fighting against each
altogether.
other. Yeah.
Yeah, or
Yeah.
they just kill them, and they're like, we'll
It
figure out
is
the world on our own.
interesting though,
'Cause
like,
there's
yeah,
not
because
anything. There's not a
their
real.
world is derived from those gods. Like, there's no sun if there's no Atraxas. Like that's
Right.
how do you fix that? Like, because
Yeah.
clearly, if they could fix it easily, the other gods would do it. Maybe they all the god,
Well, and then
yeah.
I'm wondering what would get thrown out of whack with the other ones, right? Like, I'm like, now I need to like look up a list of the gods. They're like, okay, so fates. Okay, so then willpower is the only thing that works, and there's no such thing as fate. Fine, done. Um,
There's the
and
Vitaris
there's
is
the
plague and life, which he seems pretty essential to. But then I'm like,
so
what
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 happens when
creates a
they?
god? Like, how do they even get this? Like,
Mhm, yeah,
yeah.
I don't know.
They're just programmers.
They're
So they're just
programmers.
programmers.
Yes, I'm very interested to see what the POV is for the next book
It has
because
to be the girl. There's no way it's a Septimus the whole time.
I think it would be a split POV.
Okay.
I think it
That
would
would be
make
the first time. It would
I
be a break from it.
no, there's
Only
Asar
the
and
second only the second books of each duology are split POV. First books are both one. The first
we
one's
don't get any
Aurea.
Asar chapters in the first
I don't
book.
think so. Now I'm curious, but yeah, I'm pretty sure it's all Aurea, and then it's
Mhm.
both of them, and then all Mish, and then it's
Mish.
both of them. Yeah, because I think I was thinking about this and like,
Yeah, I mean it's gonna. I mean the first chapter is gonna be like and the girl lived in the place and the it's gonna be a prelogue
mhm,
of some
yeah,
third person narrative that's like there once was a girl who lived in a village and that village fucking sucked and the girl called out to a fucking savior and then the next chapter is just gonna
yeah,
be like I was walking around and some dude with fucking white short hair smoking a cigarette was like the fuck. But it's gonna be so I feel like I mean I'm here for it whatever she does she can do no wrong. I just I find it maybe I'll be okay with that. Maybe I'm not prepared to maybe the only way I can love Septimus is to have a book where someone else falls in love with him.
hmm
There we go.
yeah.
There we go.
But I liked it that it's like a real enemies to lure, because you're like, I fucking hate this guy, so it'll
Yeah.
make it more worth it.
Although I feel like I don't know if I want to tell you. I think that there's some other real enemies to lovers in the Broadbent world that she does well.
Oh, I'm sure there is. I just mean like, so many people fuck up enemies to lovers because they can't
Yeah.
just make someone hateable.
Mhm.
But that's a really good way to do that. Just
Oh, well,
generally,
especially for the
any writer.
reader, right? Like that's what you're saying. They fuck up the enemies
Yeah,
to
you're
lover
like,
because
do
the
I really
reader
hate
can't.
Xaden? I knew him for like one chapter
Oh
before
yeah,
we're
no, I fucking
thirsting
hate
over him.
Septimus. He's such a
Like you actually
cocky.
do. So it's way more
Yeah, I'm like you're
interesting.
such a cocky little rat man.
Yeah.
And I
Um,
can't I'm so I mean I can't wait for the turn where I'm like, fuck, I want to root for this guy.
yeah, that's why
I
you're like
love the
enemies to
turn, but
lovers.
I get so mad that I'm like, "Oh, I know what's gonna happen," and I just want to hold on to my little anger about
Maybe
this
it
guy.
won't. Maybe they'll be like a little evil couple or
Maybe it's
something.
just gonna be enemies to enemies. They're just gonna hate fuck out of some obligation. They're like, "I'm really attracted to you and you're hot, but I don't want to fucking talk to you at all." I mean, that's a thing.
That's definitely, but yeah,
It's
yeah.
a real thing.
Uh,
Yeah. Okay. So, what's your theory about gods?
Oh yeah. Okay. So because we've been introduced to the demigods, and they seem like in thematically in the other books, right? Or night, Arain, Arain, Araya and Rain, they
Hmm.
split the power, right? So they become both like the power is diffused between two people, and then Mish and Asar, they are also diffusing that divinity and like sharing it. So it's almost in a way, it's sort of like we're doing checks and balances, like we're
Yeah.
diffusing power, and so
What
and
power do Rain and Araya
well, because
share?
that it used to be that the night House of Night would war over like one, it would be Rashawn, and then it'd
Oh, right,
be
right,
this,
right,
and
right,
then they
right,
brought the
right.
houses together.
Yes.
Um, so I could totally see like the demigods are sort of like I'm half Vitaris, half Atraxas, like Well, no, I don't think whatever.
Yeah, yeah, I
Anyway,
get what you're saying.
they're half something or half
Have we
human,
met
whatever.
actual demigods, though? Like, do
Yes.
you have character names for demigods? I mean,
Yeah,
Aesar's a demigod.
they're with Acacia in, when she rescues Asar from the what is that called? The
Right.
god's place. They
Yeah,
She has 2
this
demigods with her that are her
okay,
kids, I think, or somebody's
got it.
kids. Uh,
And technically, Aesar is a demigod
yes. Yeah, well,
from the
not like
beginning. He's a
he
very
has
dilute
a
he's a
drop.
very diluted demigod.
Yes, and now
Yeah,
he's, like, more of a demigod, but not the way not the usual route.
yeah.
He's kind of, like, made, essentially, so but yeah, I was like, that would make sense metaphorically because it's like that
Mhm,
still diffusing, and then it's still like no, it distills power. But then also they could do that through maybe this,
mhm.
I don't know, yeah. Um, Also, Stepson is having a curse, and the curse over the House of Blood. That is definitely gonna be huge. Um,
There is yeah.
that's probably why they kill Nyaxia. Actually, is probably because they have to
There
fix
is so
that.
there's the Curse of the House of Blood, and then there's another I don't know what it is, because I have not read it yet. But there's some other weird cursey type something happening that I am very interested to figure out.
Hmm.
I also have no idea why Atreus has horns yet.
Oh
And
yeah, I forgot
I'm
about that.
really, really interested to find out why this motherfucker has horns. I know he's got some stuff happening, and
Made a deal with the
we
devil.
got I'm on chapter 30, and I know he's got some stuff, and I have an inclination of that stuff, but I don't know all of it, and I don't know what it is or how it manifests or what does it mean or where his horns came from.
So interesting. Um, yeah. Oh yeah, my book is signed.
Ooh,
I didn't ask for it. I bought it on the first day.
nice.
Kind of
Yeah,
just
it's
looks
like
like a
the
scratch
first X
batch.
thousands books. Yeah, you get
Yeah.
yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
That will sell for $50 on Facebook Marketplace.
No, I'm keeping it.
Yeah, no.
Um,
I'm starting to realize that, like, I'm really trying not to let, like, the previous books influence the books that I'm currently reading, but it's very hard sometimes where I'm like,
yeah,
"Oh, I
you're
just
just
don't
like
think
in
I
a
liked it as
headspace.
much." And I'm like, "Oh, well, because I was just in something that I loved." So it's very hard to, like and
Hmm.
I don't pace myself. I just, like, I finished a book on Monday, I'm starting a new book on Tuesday. That's ridiculous. I'm not doing that.
Yeah. I like to sort of have some space between books. Most of the time.
I
It
also feel
depends,
like I
but yeah.
wasn't reading with this kind of critical eye though back then either. I was just
No,
reading
and
to like have fun, right?
yeah.
I was
Yeah.
reading for enjoyment. I was reading because it wasn't student papers and it wasn't historical articles and it wasn't primary sources.
Yeah.
And I
And
just want to not be in that space. I was like, I don't want to put on my critical reading thinking cap when I'm
mhm.
just having fun. Um,
Yeah, that's what I do as well, except my like I'll give it the stars rating depending on how it held my interest.
yeah.
So if I am not going to scroll TikTok because I was reading,
Hmm.
if the worst book in the world is still going to get that
Yeah.
5 star, like
I
that's how I
have
do my ratings almost entirely is does it hold my interest, and that's what I care. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I have a reading journal that after I finish a book,
should have one.
yeah, and they're each of them are like 2 pages, right? It's a very
Hmm.
small book, and the front one is like what's the title, the author, the genre, how did I like, physical, ebook or audio, what's the page length, what's the publication date, and then there's a little bit of a rating, right? Is it what
Hmm.
was it readable? What are the characters and the plot? And so you have like 4 stars for each of those, like out of 4
Hmm.
stars. And then overall rating. And then it's like, what was your first impression of the book? What are some notable quotes? Or what was the first impression of the book? What's something you'll take away? Quotes. And then there's a whole notes page. And then at the end is like, would I recommend this book? Did I like the ending? And then I always also write in there whether or not I have the physical book now, because anything that I read that I like goes on my TBB to be bought
To be bought.
pile.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I keep track of that too. So like I'll say like, because up at the top I'll be like, oh, I read it through ebook. And then in my notes section, I'm like, buy the physical copy ASAP, or like you don't need to buy the physical copy.
Yeah.
Because I'm
I
trying
wish
to.
I should do something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've 13 books so far this year, which
Nice.
I mean, it's definitely more than one a month.
Mhm.
But it is not like I mean, I was
It wasn't the
devouring.
pace of last year.
I was devouring books last year. I think I read like 50. No, I read like almost 80 books last year. It was ridiculous. But I also had a very long road trip that I
Mhm.
audiobooked, and I had before we moved, I had a 2-hour commute every day, like hour there, hour
Mhm.
back, with no children in the car. So I was just like audiobooking and reading at night and doing all sorts of craziness. So
Yeah.
I don't have that kind of.
That kind of time.
Yeah. Although I was listening to my audiobook today while I was like cleaning the house, and I was just like, "Hey kiddo, you can have some TV time because I got to sweep and mop anyways. So I'm going
Mhm.
to pop that baby in and
Nice.
listen
Yeah.
to not sexy sexy romanticy while I sweep my floors."
So funny. I'm trying to think about. I feel like you read 13 books?
Mhm.
Read 4, 3, Mistborn, Do, Moon Hatched. So 8 plus the first duet, the second duet, and the novella. Why is my brain freezing up? 8 and 4. Okay, so I read 13 books as well?
Nice. Yeah.
It's so funny. It's weird that
Yeah,
we read
it's just
exactly the same amount.
it's 13 since I got the journal, and I got the journal in like March, February, March-ish. So
That's
I'm
so
like, yeah,
funny.
cool,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, I'm trying to keep track of all of them so that I can, like, 'cause it's also when you're reading on Kindle, it's very hard to remember titles and author names because I don't see it, right? I just kind of
Just
brush past it.
scroll back. Yeah.
And so having to write them in the journal, one makes me write those out and it's a lot easier to remember. It's like note taking. And when I'm like, I think I read that, then I can just go back through and be like, oh, I did,
Mhm.
and I liked this. And my notes are so unhinged. Because it's only one page, right? So it's not like a full book review. I'm just like, I like
Yeah.
this, I like this, I don't like this, I don't like that. And then usually there's like one character. So there's like a character in um the Daughter of No Worlds, who's kind of a side-ish, main-ish character something.
Mhm.
And I just wrote that person's. I said it's a he. I wrote his name, and I said I swoon for this person, and that's all I wrote. I was just like, I love the character.
That's cool.
I would like to have him. It's like
Wouldn't that be nice?
I swoon for that one. It's very unhinged. I'm glad my husband doesn't read it because he's like, damn, you big old slut. Because I'd be like, get it, Asar. No, really, come get it. No.
Oh, actually, yeah. Funny.
But yeah. So
I
yeah,
just
I enjoyed the book. I'm very excited. I'm really mad that I have to wait a year for the next one. But
I
that's actually
know.
not terrible.
It's good pace.
I was very happy that on the day that she released this book, she announced the next. Like that makes my
Oh, she did do that.
consumer heart so happy that it's just like, here, read it. And I'm going to tell you exactly how long you have to wait for the next one. And there's going to be, it's just to be clear. And that's where we're at. And now we can hype it for a year, as opposed to trying to figure out all of the little encrypted messages in the drafts of somebody who will remain unnamed.
Mhm. Mhm.
But yeah.
Funny. Yeah. I'm trying to I feel like I read it. I read it 3 weeks ago and I still
Hmm.
am like, what actually happened to this book? 'Cause I had so many thoughts and now I'm like, what were those thoughts? It's
I feel like I'm
crazy.
going to be that person who just annotates all of my books. I'm going to be that monster that
I should
every
just
single
write.
book.
I should just do the
Just
journal
right,
thing
just
because I
right.
really just don't remember. I remember like a lot of the things and a lot of like yeah my theory about like I love the Acacia thing and I loved like the layers and how they're sort of they made their own thing again and the
Mm-hmm.
weird kind of redemption of almost like
Mm-hmm.
Alorus and stuff like symbolically there's really interesting and I so many people try to just overdo their metaphors and their symbolism and I'm just bro stop it's so
I was
unbearable, and this is
very
so well done.
it's so well done, and it's every time I read her books and I get like 100 pages in and I'm like, "Babe, how the fuck are you going to wrap any of this up without it being
Yeah.
so just unsatisfying because you just like magicked out of it or something, because it
Yeah.
just feels like there's
There's
no
no way
way.
out.
There's no way out. There's no way out. I
Yeah.
don't know what's happening. There's no way that this is the end of even just their story.
Yeah.
You've written yourself into a fucking shoe, right? Into a
Mhm.
way where you're like,
That's the best feeling.
there's just not enough pages in what I know this
Yeah.
book to have for you to be able to get these people where they need to be, doing what they need to do, and doing it in a way that doesn't feel like, and then they just poofed with the wand and everything was
Yeah.
fine. And yet somehow she fucking delivers every single time. Every time.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
that's a
one of
skill,
those
that's a hard
that skill is never ever more apparent than in the last book
of
of
Daughter of
the
No Worlds.
Daughter of No Worlds, because I was like,
I
there's
remember you
like
saying that when you were reading it, you're
4
like, "What the
different
fuck?"
fucking there's this main story, and this like there's like kind of 2 main stories and a thing over here, and this person going here, and this is a baddie and that's a baddie, but not really a baddie and kind of a baddie, and they're supposed to be the good guys, but I'm also questioning what the fuck they're doing. Everything's crazy, and you're like, I've got 300 pages. And you're going to tell me that you're going to wrap everything up in a way that not only suits this book but suits this series in a way that is authentic to all of the characters. I
That
don't
is
think
so
so.
awesome.
And then here I am being like, oh, so fucking good.
You did it.
So
Yeah.
good. So good. And I mean I love a grumpy guy. Which is weird.
Mhm.
My husband's the most not, I mean, I don't know, whatever. Um he's kind of
He's
grumpy.
like a Labrador energy.
Yeah.
Grumpy Labrador?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's an old Labrador.
Okay.
He's not old. In fact, he's 5 years younger than I am, but he has like old Labrador where he's like he really wants to be like chipper and fun all the time.
But then he's like,
But he really in all reality he just wants to kind of like hang out on the couch and have people leave him alone. Um
That's how I
he
am
likes
kind of
he likes
actually.
his people.
Got it.
But yeah, so I love a grumpy guy, and I think one of the things that I was less Rain is really great with like this, like a sarcasm and a very like kind of a. He feels very down to earth for a very old vampire, and
Mhm.
he's got a little bit of a sarcastic, little smart mouth kind of thing happening. He kind of pokes the bear a little bit, and that's
Yeah.
cute, and that's fine, and I'm here for it. But I love a grumpy guy. I love a guy that's got some tragedy happening, and I know Rain does too. But like
Yeah.
one that like I
Is
I like
Aesar
it.
grumpy? Like, I'm trying to think of, like, when is he, like,
Azar
grumpy?
doesn't think that he's meant for anything but destruction. That everything
Okay.
that he touches is going to die because that's his only purpose in life is to destroy.
So you like
And
sad boys, not
I do
grumpy.
like it. I mean, I'm a millennial. I love an emo boy. Um, Come on. I'm like he literally has fucking smoke that comes out of an eye, is covered in tattoos and scars, wears all black and lives in the underworld. If that's not the My Chemical Romance of of main character energy, I don't know
Mhm.
what is. So I'm
Yeah.
definitely here for that. I think that Septimus is going to have more of the. I don't think he's going to be as grumpy, which is fine. Um, but I
You
think
think
that
he's gonna
that's.
be grumpy?
I don't think he's going to be grumpy. He's
Okay.
witty. He's he's the
Yeah.
Slytherin. He's the
He's a
Slytherin of it
Draco
all.
Malfoy, he looks like it too.
Yeah, kind of. He's the one
Yeah.
that's like like I will do whatever is necessary to reach my goal. And at the end, his goal is gonna be, altruistic, maybe, or at least,
I'd love her to not do that and just say, to lean against
yeah.
what we expect.
But I'm here for that too. But I love a character who's a little bit closed off, who only likes like 4 people in the whole world,
Mhm.
and thinks that the world is going to see them as just a corruption, and then
Mhm.
you see past that. I like a guy who only
Septimus is
is
gonna be like that too. Yeah.
100%. I like a guy who's only nice to the people he likes. And like not in the real world of things, but like I
Yeah.
love a character who kind, and I think that's what I like about Reese so much in the beginning, was because like the whole world thinks he's a dick except for the
Mhm.
people who know him. And I love the popular opinion of someone being something vastly different than who they really are.
Yeah, it makes you think that maybe the world's not so bad.
Yes.
And that's silly to think.
And the main character in Daughters of No Worlds is very much a low grumpy man. And he's
It's funny.
so fucking over the world, and he's a millennial. He's the most millennial character I've ever met in my world. He's just like, this can I just go home? Can I not deal with any of this bullshit?
It's
And
funny.
I love that. I feel like Asar
Yeah.
has a little bit of that in him where he's just like, can I just go back to the underworld and not deal with any of this bullshit on this whole plane of existence?
Mhm. I think I just come back to the fact, like, I think I'm just a weirdo. I think I never think like I like a certain kind of character. I just think like if it fits, I like it. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if it makes sense. Like, um,
So yeah, so that has been my thoughts on The Fallen and the Kiss of Dusk. And I'm looking forward to the lion in the place of the things with the gods.
It's so weird to do a big discussion like this because I'm like, how do you just talk about it? All your
Yeah,
thoughts. Like,
yeah.
I need to do like the chapter by chapter is so much,
Mhm.
so easy because you can just really dig in. And on this, I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, what did I talk about? But I feel like I have so many more theories. But also, yeah, it's like 3 weeks and I'm
Oh,
just ruined.
so the moment that Asar asks Lilith if he recognizes her,
Oh yes.
it's because at the end of Six Scorched Roses, she dies. Right? Almost. So the twist in that story is that the reason why the plague exists is because the dad made a
Yes.
deal with the god to save his daughter who was dying. And the plague is an aftermath of that or whatever because gods are fickle, fucked up creatures. And so she says, I'll give it back. And so she gives the roses back and she gives herself back. So all of that, like, play, all the stuff that was supposed to already have killed her drops on her basically and she dies ish, and it says like I was standing, so in the physical realm she's standing in a field of dead roses, and at the same time she keeps saying when she's talking about being dead that she's in a field of flowers. And so it's this like layered on top of each other. It's like the physical body is in is in the earth realm, right? With all of these dead roses because she's given back the roses as part of that deal. But also she's halfway in the underworld because she's half dead, and she's in a field of flowers and she's holding the hand of death. And Death is like, really? After so long, you don't want to come? And she's like, I want to stay. I want to stay. And he's like, babe, you can't stay. She's like, I want to stay. I want to stay. I want to stay. And he's like, are you sure? Are you sure? And she keeps going, I'm in a field of flowers. I'm in a field of roses. I'm in a field of flowers. I'm in a field of roses. I'm holding the hand of death. I'm holding Vale's hand. I'm being pulled this way. I'm being pulled this way. That is Asar. Because at this
I
point,
love that.
he is the Wraith Warden
Yeah.
still, and he is in control of the underworld, and his job as the Wraith Warden was to basically usher in the newly dead and send them into the afterlife. That's his job. So whoever you plan on meeting when you die is going to be Death. She's meeting Death. She's meeting Asar.
Mhm.
And he
I love that.
recognizes her and is
You know
like,
what page he recognizes her? It's good if you
I
know.
don't because I audiobooked it.
Oh, right. It's okay.
Oh, no, no, no.
But yeah, he does recognize her?
I didn't audiobook that one, but he does. He does recognize her. I can pull up my Kindle. Cause oh, tell Vale to get his ass back here now. We're out of time. Okay, blah 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 blah.
Yeah, you're in the right spot.
Okay, she gives him the thing, the cello. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But it's when he first meets Lilith? Because I think they've
Hmm.
already met.
Well, of course they have. He recognizes her.
No, yeah.
No, this is the first time he meets her. Vale has arrived. It's time. Okay, here we go. Okay, nope. He met. You're right. He met Lilith before this
Like when they first get there,
when they first
maybe.
get there. I am on page 429 of the Kindle.
Oh, you found it?
Yes.
Okay, I went back and I was on page 327,
Yeah.
429.
Page 429. I don't know if I'm assuming that the page numbers line up, but it says, Misha introduced me to a woman named Lilith, the wife of their general who was retrieving the blood, and apparently the one responsible for most of their work distilling it. When she had pushed her wired glasses up her nose and stretched out her hand to grasp mine, she paused and cocked her head. Have we met? She asks. Because that's exactly what she was doing, was holding his
That's
goddamn hand.
awesome.
We
I love
hadn't,
that.
though she did seem oddly familiar. She was blunt, straightforward, and trusted the intelligence of her listener to keep up. All the qualities I appreciated. I liked her immediately.
And that's on page 429?
429.
Not
I can give you the chapter number if that's helpful. It's chapter 52. I
oh,
love it. It's so good. It's so good.
368 of the physical version. How is it so far off?
Because I'm looking at it on my phone and this is as many words as will fit on a page.
But they changed the page numbers? Doesn't make sense to me. I feel like they would just, I don't
How many pages are in that book total?
know. 10 years later. Okay, before the epilogue, 540.
Yeah, it says 638 because of how few words I can have on a page at a time on my phone.
Interesting. Okay, sorry, that was like a, yeah, that was a tangent, but I love that's a
Yeah, because
great.
if I change the font size, it'll change the page number size, like the page numbers.
I
Hmm.
can't. It's interesting. Technology, man. It
Yeah,
feels wrong. Um,
but yeah, that's where she knows. So she asks, "Have we met?" And he's like, "I haven't met you." And she's like, "Huh, weird."
you're so yeah, yeah.
So
He's
wait till she fucking recognizes him for realsies in book
so
17. It's gonna be
interesting.
great.
That's awesome.
But that's my theory.
I love that. Um, cool. So yeah, we'll see you next. Do we know what we're doing next week?
Not a clue.
Starting a novel is what it's titled.
Ah, right. How to start a novel. Why did we start
Less
novels?
of a how to, right? And more just talking about our experiences.
Yes. Yeah. Why the fuck do we want to start a novel? How did we start it? Where did our idea come from? Our own experience. I don't think that we have any advice to give to any writers in the world on how to start a novel. So yeah, so next time we'll talk about why we started novels, what maybe some of that inspiration was, and yeah, just what the early stages of our writing look like.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
I'll
And I
see you
will
next
see
week.
you next week.
Keep reading